need pencils.
Oh my gosh, a pencil skirt.
Hello everyone, welcome to this week's developer stream. So this week we are going to be doing things just a little bit differently. If you have been following our social channels, we've been having a little bit of a server struggle today. This time was more of an issue on the back end, so we know that some players have been reporting that some progress is being lost and things like that when they're playing, or things aren't quite syncing up the way that they should. We haven't completely identified the source of this yet, but we have a strong suspicion that this is from someone trying to cheat and overloading things and causing them to go out of sync. So I just wanted to give a quick PSA perhaps in the beginning of the stream before we get started. I know that on Discord and things like that, Survive By, of course, is a PvE game, and so if you get really, really powerful, it's only going to help the other people around you, which is awesome. Experience is shared, items are shared, you can kill bosses together. Like, it's a very cooperative type of game. So typically, if one person is really, really strong, it's only going to be beneficial for other people. And I know that some folks really like to sort of toy around with like cheat engines and kind of see how they can like fiddle with games and things like that, and we'll think, hey, this is a PvE game, like if I'm really strong, it's not like I'm making it unfair for other players or anything like that, and it won't affect anyone. But unfortunately, in a game like Survive By, it actually can, because if someone is trying to spam all kinds of currency for themselves or duplicate a bunch of items or something like that, that can ruin the experience for everyone else. It can overload things and make things just like explode everywhere and cause outages like this. So please don't do that. If you're watching this, I don't know if that would perhaps be convincing for you or not. But for everyone else, of course, if you're watching this and you're kind of wondering like, hey, I've noticed recently maybe some of what I'm doing isn't being saved, that tends to be why it's happening, which I'm sad about, because this week I'm actually very excited. We let a lot of new players into the game, and we also had a pretty big giveaway as well. If you go to our Twitter page, actually I'll pull this up for you guys. Twitter. If you go to our Twitter page, you of course can redeem a key right now. So if you're watching, you won't be able to play right now, but Video Games 24/7, they're doing this 10,000 key giveaway. All you have to do is, I believe, you subscribe to their YouTube channel. So if you want to head over here, you can grab a key, and then when things are up and running and everything's happy, of course you can rejoin us there. Awesome. So because of all of this, we will be doing things just a little bit differently today. Of course, I will be trying to hop into the game in a bit, but just in case, I'd rather kind of get into some of the other fun things that we can chat about, and then if we can go through the Druid quest together, that would be amazing. So first off, let's go ahead and close out Twitter, but one more time, just so everyone sees it. Here it is. You can just click on it, follow this link, and redeem what you need. we have 2 new forum threads that we would love to get some feedback on this week. So the first one is, actually I'm going to go to this one. What do you want to see on these streams? Of course, if you're watching this week, I'm sure your answer is, we want to see the game. Typically, that will always be the case. Normally what we do on these streams, if this is your first time tuning in, we'd like to talk about whatever the latest update is, sort of give you guys a walkthrough, sometimes a little bit of like behind the scenes info on whatever's going on. And then, of course, I try to answer any questions in Twitch chat that I'm able to. But if there's anything else that you guys would like to see, if there's like any other sort of behind the scenes content that you would be especially interested in seeing, maybe possibly like pulling other people onto the stream, let us know. We're actually setting up a new streaming area, which I'm not sure when we'll be teleporting in that direction, but I'm excited about it. There should be much better lighting over there. We'll have some like more Survive By themed goodness in the background for you guys. Right now, you just have to look at my posters. I'm streaming at my desk. So when we move to a new location, it'll be easier for me to fit more than one person, of course, on the stream. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Please comment on this thread, and I will definitely look into making that a reality. So, very cool. The next thing I wanted to chat about is this week's Druid update. It sounds like even though the servers are pretty wonky right now, there are some folks who are able to still play. So if you have experienced it, phenomenal. If you haven't, I will talk you through a little bit, sort of what that looks like. So this week we have this Druid update that went out. It changed how the Druid special ability works, but it also introduced a new set of quests for you to go on, and a new skin for the Druid, and of course this new like jungle biome, which I'm gonna hop into soon and we can all kind of take a look at together. But I got some very, very initial feedback on Discord in the few minutes I had before the stream here, where folks are kind of wondering like why we made these changes. I know the Infiltrator update, some people kind of liked how we worked before and they were a little bit confused, so I just wanted to make sure that with the Druid we're a little bit more transparent, kind of how these like design discussions go down and why these changes were made. So on the forum, we added this information, but I'll go over it here briefly as well. So the 2 reasons that we updated the Druid primarily is that we need all of our class's special abilities to be able to affect multiple enemies at once. So there needs to be like a crowd control component to every kind of class that we have in the game. And when we were first designing things, we were just kind of thinking like, okay, we know there's going to be like X number of different classes, and we want each one to feel like really distinct and to be creative and cool. And we were a little bit more focused on like, how can we make each class really powerful against like one enemy at a time. And over time, just through, the course of development and also with community feedback and things like that, we've come to realize that crowd control is definitely key. If you guys have played before and you're familiar with what happens at nighttime, what comes out at night? Or in the caves? Tons of bats, moths, things like that. So those are like tiny little bad guys, but then there's also a lot of bosses that will spawn things where there will be a lot of enemies flooding in at once, and sometimes being able to focus a lot of damage on one enemy isn't always the answer. So we need to kind of give you guys a little bit more of a tactical choice here, and that is why we updated the Druid to have this charge attack. So when you are playing as the Druid and you charge forward through a group of enemies, you're going to be dealing damage to all of the enemies that you're like flying through. And then you're also going to release like this spray sort of bullet pattern when you make contact at the end. So you can use that dash to kind of burst damage towards one enemy while dealing a bunch of damage on either side. And then you can also use that burst of movement to get out of sort of a hairy situation. No pun intended, because it's a bear. Okay, pun intended. But that charge, you're going to be at about 1.5 movement speed. So, of course, as your character is getting faster, that bear is going to be like zipping all over the place. There's a short pause between each one of these bursts, so it's not going to be like a straight ice skate or anything. You will have to kind of stop between each charge, but you also get that little endurance buff, so you can use your special ability a little bit more. And then the other reason that we updated the Druid is, again, that kind of like spray that comes out at the end. It's really, really important that even though the Druid is the closest thing that we have to like a melee character, which, side note, we don't really have melee characters because everything is shooting out a bullet. So even if it's invisible and super, super short range, it still is like a bullet. And the reason for no melee and the reason why we made this update is because we have bosses like Heart of the Forest or like the Hydra or the Locust, where there's going to be a pit or something that keeps you from getting really close to that boss. Sometimes it's just the way that boss's bullet pattern works or something like that, but where distance is going to be really crucial for you. So we needed to make sure that even on a more typically melee class, it still had that ranged component to it outside of just your standard ability. So that's it. If you have any questions about that, of course, this thread is a good place for that. But generally, we're really, really interested in knowing if you feel, as soon as you're able to hop back into the game, if you feel that the special ability is effective against bosses that are a little bit farther away, if there are any changes that you'd like to see, or of course, we always like positive feedback. So positive is great. The bear is a little bit OP right now, especially when combined with the right ancestral legacies, so this won't address that. That is something that will kind of come down the line. But I think he's super fun. I was able to hop in and try him out for a bit while the servers were still up and happy, and I think that you guys will like the new changes. So please weigh in on that. That would be phenomenal. So because I can't show this to you guys in game, we're going to be doing this just a little bit differently this week. I'm going to show you some kind of fun behind the scenes info on the jungle, first and foremost, and then also how we create some of the larger structures in the game, or even the smaller structures, and how the jungle was constructed. So let's close out of the forums here. Awesome. So this is it. We use a software called Tiled. It's free online, you can download it. And basically the way it works is you can import these sprite sheets like so. We've got basically all of the different assets that are in the game. And you can use it to construct little spaces. So these, like most of the things that are in the overworld, are procedurally generated, not in the sense that every time you load in, it's going to be a different look, but that we are sort of drawing in a general area, and then in that general area, things are procedurally placed. This one, it's like a solid stamp that's going to go down where we can determine exactly how a certain location is going to look. So it gives us a little bit more control, and it also allows us to create things that aren't generated procedurally, like buildings, setting up little campsites and things like that, kind of creating fun little environmental stories that you can come across. So this is the jungle. You can see we've got kind of the bulk of our new assets for the jungle in here. I think it would be fun if maybe we kind of made our own. Oh, see, there's some additional little trees and rocks and things like that here. So I'll kind of show you guys how this works and how we construct things. Please forgive me if I mess something up. I do get to play a role in making some of the stamps, but of course I am not an artist on the team, so if I mess up once or twice, I'm sure you guys will understand. So yeah, let's make a tiny one. Try it out. Maybe... Why isn't that displaying? Okay, that's fine. Let's... Uh-oh. Why did I do this? This is a new version of tiled than what I'm used to, so things are kind of in different locations. Uh-oh, that's the wrong window too. Everything's on fire. All right. Let me see. Oh, it wasn't hiding. Where did it go? Let me see if I can make it show up here. Let me show the grid. All right, that's okay. So I can still show you guys how this works without needing to actually go in there. So we have multiple layers when we create these different tiles, or different stamps in tiled rather. We have sort of like the base, which is going to be that floor that you're running around on. And this is something that is more procedurally generated. So if we take like grass and we put it next to water, for example, on that layer, it will know that we need to have a transition between those two things. So it's sort of like a logical, like how do things work in nature kind of transition. So it's like grass wouldn't go straight into a lake, for example. It would probably be like grass and then sand, like a beach, and then a lake. So that's kind of what happens on that layer. And then the rug is more like, you know, you can think of a rug in a house. They're things that go beneath the player's feet that you're going to run over. But that doesn't have any sort of procedural component to it. So we can kind of choose exactly what that is going to look like. And then on this sort of detail layer here, that's where we're going to put the base of buildings and rocks and things that we want to have that collision on them. So if you're running into a house and you bump into this part right here, this is on that ground layer, which means that your player character is going to collide with that. And so you won't be able to like run through the wall of a house. If it's on the layer above that, which is going to be that foreground, that's for things that are higher up that you can pass through. So that's why if I walk behind this bush, there still is going to be like a layer that I'm going to pass in front of or behind. Yes, I am reading chat. And yes, this is all coming from my brain. That would be a very, very long script to be reading. So anyways, yes, if you guys have questions, let me scroll back a little bit. I got kind of caught up in my stamp excitement. Okay, so let's see, questions. How is the Druid ability supposed to work? I wasn't able to tell if it's a huge nerf or if it just didn't work before. It was working before. So once again, you're using your energy and you're kind of moving in like a quick burst forward. And that is how that's working. And it's automatically going to be dealing damage to what's on either side of you. And then when you collide into something, you'll stop. Or when you sort of naturally stop, because there's a set distance to this, that's when it'll spray out that bullet. So I would say it's definitely more powerful than it was before, because it's like you are just a battering ram, like moving through a flood of enemies at a time. But yes, that was definitely working. Okay, do you have to be moving or does it go where your mouse pointer is? Yeah, so wherever your mouse is on the screen, that's the location that the bear is going to move in the direction of. And then also, that's where that spray is going to be directed as well. Thank you, by the way, for putting the key link into chat. I appreciate that. More of you guys we can get in here, the better. That would be awesome. Yes, so if it's asking you to create a house name when you're trying to log in, that's because the game isn't able to talk to that backend database that is potentially being DDoSed. And that means that it isn't even able to talk to the database and find out, like, do you have an account or not? It's all still there. It's just that what you're able to access and sort of experience first person, it isn't able to kind of make that connection. Let's see. So I personally don't feel that the Druid's ability is worse than it was before. I like it better. I think it's stronger. But of course, if you guys have feedback on that, or if you preferred the way that it was, that's definitely something where you can go to that forum thread that I showed you guys before, and we really want to hear feedback. So if there are things about it that maybe you don't like, that's definitely a good place to share it. That also doesn't mean that we aren't still focusing on other things. So we're always kind of simultaneously working on things. On the streams, we'll typically try and put out like these forum threads, or kind of source very specific feedback on one specific thing. Maybe because it's something that's coming down the road, or maybe it's because it's something big that just came out. But it's always going to be sort of working like hand in hand with other things that are being created or are also being released. Of course, you guys can always check out the patch notes as well to see what else is updated, and to kind of see what else is happening. All right, anything else that you guys want answered right away? Haven't gotten the Druid yet. Okay, so this would be a good opportunity too. Of course, you can convert that Bloodstone that you're earning through quests into Electrum, and you can be using that to unlock new classes. So you can play the Druid quest even if you aren't playing as a Druid. It's just sort of a Druid themed quest, because we also have this new skin, which I can totally show you guys. And so you can complete those quests, you can get Bloodstone from it, and then using the Bloodstone market, you can convert that into Electrum, and you can get that Druid, so you can try them out. Take just a moment, let me locate. I've got a cute little gif of our Druid walking around. And after I pull him up, I'm actually going to see if I can connect to the game. I'm not sure if it'll work, but it's worth a shot, I think. I have like the most cluttered desktop maybe on the planet. I'm so sorry. It's so bad, you guys. I can't show you because like there's some things on there that we don't want to put on stream, but I'm like, oh, it's terrible. It's just the whole thing is just like a wave of icons. Very shameful. Let me find it. I believe it's, oh, we also put it on our Twitter. Let me pull it up there. And if you guys want to check it out too, you'll know where to go after the stream, just in case things aren't up and ready yet. And, oh, there he is. He's so cute. Ta-da! So here he is walking around. I love his little, like, he's got this cool wooden mask on, and like his horns have little branchy leaves coming off of it. I thought it was pretty clever, but yeah, that's him walking around. Cute little Jeff. Yes, I wish we could put Jeff in the game. He's the best. I'm glad that you guys like him. He's still in our office, of course. It's like our mascot at this point. Plan for different animal types for the Druid. So maybe. One thing that we've talked about doing before is bringing in like class variations. So again, this is all just like me spitting ideas. These are not like promises, okay? But for example, we have the Harbinger class, right? And so let's say we were going to create like a subclass for the Harbinger. So maybe there's like an ice harbinger or a fire harbinger or something like that. And like playing as that one, it would look just a little bit different. And then like maybe the abilities would be a little bit more skewed towards whatever theme we give it. So for a Druid with different sort of like animal types, that could be a cool idea maybe for like a subclass or something like that, where it's like, you know, you can play as the Druid bear form, or you can play as the Druid, I don't know, panther form, eagle form, something like that could totally be a possibility. And that's another thing where even though subclasses aren't a guarantee yet, it's always better if we know about what kind of things you guys would like to see sooner rather than later, just because of course that development time takes a while. So the sooner we have that feedback, the easier it'll be for us to actually implement it. So if you guys can kind of like peer into the future and think about like what neat subclasses would be, that would definitely be really great. Yes, so of course you can still deal single target damage just using any of your standard attacks. And if you do want to try and just focus on one enemy, charging directly into it and then spitting all of your that radial burst straight at it, I mean, that's gonna pack a lot more punch than just like the standard druid ability would have been before. So it kind of comes with like that nice side effects of like that additional crowd control, but of course if you want to like focus that entire effort into one enemy, you definitely can do that. A Firemancer would be cool. Yeah, definitely like variations of the Geomancer would be super, super neat. So I'm going to actually see if, oh, that's the other thing I want to show you guys. I'm going to see if closing out tiled will restore the view that I had before so I can access this. Actually, maybe, no. Again, sorry guys, this is a new version for me, so I haven't quite figured out like how to make some of these things pop back up. But if you do want to kind of like play around with this, Tiled is free. You can download it on their website, and then this is definitely something for like our fan art and concepts forums. If you guys have cool ideas for like things you'd like to stumble across in the environment, that could be a fun way to create it or to put it there. So because of course we unfortunately might not be able to get into that quest content, I thought that maybe it would be all right if I gave you guys a little sneak peek of the Heartland horror. So you can't really see what's going on here, but it's got a little bit of a hint going on. So of course Heartland Horrors, for the uninitiated, is our crazy community source creature creator where, try saying that 5 times fast, where you guys can submit your idea for like different enemies in the game that are like just smashed together. And by the way, like these don't have to be standard creatures. You could say like, hey, I want a human NPC, like I want the treasure hunter with like the hammerhead shark's little like dicey fins for hands, and I want it to, you know, glow purple. Like that's something that we can definitely do. We can also do like color and hue changes, which is kind of what I wanted to show you guys here. So the winning submission that was entered last week is taking the Hydra, and instead of having like all of the heads just be like normal Hydra, I don't know, grabby mouths, to have the head of the ice anima instead. So I thought that it would be fun to kind of change up that color palette on the Hydra a little bit to make sure that it kind of matches that like cool icy vibe of the Animon. So you can see here that color is of course different. I don't want to show you what it looks like with the heads because that's kind of ruining the surprise, but yeah, this is kind of that like growth animation part of it. You can see here, of course, I have this brush up. That's another little spoiler here. It glows. You can't see it here, but this one's gonna glow, so that'll be fun. All right, I think it's time for a key giveaway, which I believe I have attached to my standard gameplay screen. So if you guys don't mind, it's gonna go dark for just a moment, and let's go ahead and pull up that key picker. Of course, we are going to be, let's see. We're going to be grabbing someone from the Twitch chat, and I will be sending you guys those keys after the stream. So let's make sure things work here. If not, otherwise we can always just do it like we did in ye olde times, where I can just grab, using RNG, someone from the stream. So let me pull up a random number picker. All right, I'm gonna grab a number between 1 and let's say 20, and we will count up from Twitch chat. Pulled 6, so counting it from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right now, Stefan Panton is the last person to have commented. So Stefan, if you don't already have a key, please grab one. Of course, otherwise, you can always redeem one from the link that's going on. Let's see, let's grab our Steam here and try and load up the game. It would be great if we could get in, kind of try these things out firsthand. Otherwise, this is, of course, a great time for some more Q&A. If you guys have questions about anything, that would be great. Plans for more stationary or deployable types of classes, like the Geomancer but without the circling. I don't know if anything like that has come up quite yet, just because, of course, we need things to be a little bit more mobile, but I know in some of the meetings we've talked about things that are more like, sort of like, you could put out things that are going to be stationary and those things would deal damage. That's always a possibility, of course, so yeah, it looks like we won't be able to get in. Let's try, I don't know why the other servers would be any different, but maybe we'll be lucky. Oh, I was thinking about it. Maybe. Nope. Okay, so again, we will keep you guys updated. This would actually be a great time for me to pull up where you guys can find those updates. Let me grab a window over here real quick. So if you haven't been to the forums yet, this is kind of what things look like. We have in our closed beta section, we have our patch notes, which I would definitely invite you to check out, of course, for this update. We talk about some of the things that we've put in, including, I know it was sort of a hot button issue on the forums this week, that the default previously was that Electrum would be spent for potions with hotkeys and things like that. That has been defaulted to off, so yay, community input. We did change that. And there's a few other things you might want to review in here as well. But for updates on the server, you're going to want to go to the hotfixes section in the patch notes. This will be sort of a mix of server updates, and then also if we just have like other updates that we're going to be putting into the game. So typically, if you are on the... If you're getting a hotfix, it means it's going to be like a soft deployment, which means that you won't like lose server connection, or everyone won't lose server connection in order to be able to have this update go out. So it's something that you can get more at your leisure. So like our Wednesday updates, for example, that's big. The servers come down. That's why you see those messages in game, and it'll say, you know, it's coming down in 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 5, and then it's gone, and you have to log back in to get that update. If it's a soft fix or a soft hot fix, that basically just means that you can kind of grab it whenever, and that's just going to be a matter of updating it on Steam. So clicking on this top one here, of course, this is going to have any information about our delayed release this week, and then kind of like what our server status is. And we also put this information on Twitter as well. But if you don't have a Twitter, this is a good place for you to join us. All right. The website is not a scam, I promise. It's safe. You can go on the website and claim a key from there, and you'll be all right. News on PvP or a clan system. So party systems, that's another thing that I know you guys have been pretty excited about. It's definitely on our radar. It's something that we're aware of and kind of thinking about and working on internally, but it doesn't exist currently. Once again, I'm afraid I'm going to start sounding like a broken record, but that is totally something that I think would be great to get some really direct feedback on. So if you play a lot of other types of games that have like guild or party systems, and there's something that you really, really like a certain feature that you like just can't live without when you're playing with friends, that's the type of thing that would be great to know about. And then of course, if you have any like very survive by specific types of ideas, like what you think would be great in Survive By's guild system, that would be awesome too. So videos, descriptions, anything is always great. One more thing I would actually really like to go over, sort of speaking of keys and giveaways. For those who are sort of new to the Survive By community, I know this will be a review for some of the others, but we've had a lot of questions on our Facebook, sort of talking about like how do you get access to the game. It's pretty simple. You register on the website. You will be sent a key in your email. We do these key drawings every Wednesday. Typically, the keys are sent out between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. Central Time, but that isn't always true. That's just sort of a safe bet. That'll be sent to the email that you registered with. So make sure you check your spam folder. That tends to be an issue for some folks. And then that key can be redeemed on Steam. So like the key that was put into chat, you would pull up Steam. There's right here, activate a product on Steam, and you would agree and then put that product code in here. So after you grab your key from our giveaway, or if you get one sent to your email, this is how you can claim that for yourself and how you can kind of hop in and join us. Anything to stop random people? Oh, I see. Okay, so for party systems, I don't know if we would be able to limit access to things like dungeons with a party system, but a new dungeon entrance instance spawns every 90 seconds. So if you guys haven't sort of experienced this firsthand, when you get to a dungeon and you unlock it with a key, anybody can hop in and join, but there's sort of a 90-second window for that to happen. And so if you and all of your friends manage to get inside the dungeon and no one else is able to join you in that 90 seconds, that door closes. You, of course, can leave. You won't be able to get back in, but you can leave. It's not like you're shut in there forever like the well or something like that. But it does mean that new players can't join that dungeon. So if you're sort of looking for that more private dungeon experience, I would say just try your luck with getting to something sort of at maybe an odd time, or making sure that no one else is sort of in the area when you open that up, and then you can kind of have that private experience. Let's see. Any other new questions in here that I can help you guys out with? Looks like some more questions about how to redeem things. I think we've got that pretty covered. Going on guild-specific raids, that's pretty cool. A lot of what we do just in general in the game is all about sharing things. So you kill an enemy, that XP is shared. You take down a boss, you don't have to fight over loot or anything like that. So I would imagine, again, this is my visionary goal here, right? Like, I would imagine that perhaps something like quest experience or quest progress maybe could be shared within a party, or that would be cool. Again, a great thing to add to that party and guild idea thread. But yeah, definitely. Let's see. Marco, yeah, I'm sure that issue is, again, that's going to be related to our current server issues. So my best suggestion would probably be just to kind of log off for now. Join us on the forums. We can all kind of chat and hang out together. Of course, we also have an official Discord. But for now, playing might not be quite so stable. All right. So I think that's most of what I've got to show you guys. Beyond questions, I can answer a few more of those, of course, but as long as we aren't able to get into the game, I don't have too much more in the way of announcements and things like that. Specific UI changes. Yes, we are working on revamping the game's UI. It's going to look beautiful. I am excited. You'll be able to kind of have a little bit more control over what does and doesn't display, so that'll be really nice. In the FAQ, there's info about resetting progress in alpha. So Yes, that does need to be updated. Thank you for catching that. But generally, anything that is in the alpha or the beta is, of course, subject to change. The game is still in development, and so as we kind of move towards our Steam launch, it is definitely possible that things will have to be reset, and these sort of re-rolls will happen. So before we go into that big launch, accounts will be reset. So just so you're aware, but of course, if you're purchasing Electrum and things like that, that is going to all be refunded back to your account. So if you purchased the hot dog skin and you really want to still have that hot dog skin, whatever the cost of that skin is, let's say it's 1,000 Electrum, that'll come back to your account, and then it'll just be a matter of clicking the purchase button one more time. So drops in a dungeon be changed so that it drops for everyone else. This would help if a higher level guy comes in and defeats the boss. Yeah, we would definitely hope that griefers are not going in and doing that, but of course that loot is shared between people, so if your friend picks up loot, you will also be able to do that as well. Doing limited skins, that's actually not something that we've considered before, but that's pretty cool. I know we've had things like limited gear with the Sin boss, where you were only able to craft and collect the materials for that boss just for that 1 week. That was like a big monthly event, and it actually went offline just today after being online for the last week. But skins, not yet. So gear does not drop from world monsters. So world monsters tend to be more like event-based, right? So like the Heartland horrors, when we're putting like a big monster in, or like Sin is much bigger, of course, than Heartland horrors. Those things are going to be dropping either nothing for Heartland horrors, because that's just sort of like a fun, goofy thing. And then Sin is going to be dropping more like gear crafting related materials. We wanted to make sure that like random chimera weren't dropping those things, just because that would be pretty OP, right? Like if you never had to go into a dungeon to get any sort of gear and things like that, like it's much easier to take out a chimera rabbit than it is to take down the Hydra. So we wanted to make sure that there was a little bit more fair risk reward type of thing. Mike Yogi's asking, what about people who have obtained Electrum unfairly? So the Electrum that is going to be awarded back to your account is going to be based on purchases. So if I spent $20 on the game and I have that amount of Electrum added to my account, that refund is going to be based on the money that you're spending. So for the folks who are going in and doing mean things to our servers, they will not be getting that Electrum back, because that isn't a purchase refund. It's a matter of using a cheat system and sort of abusing things. So that wouldn't really be a factor, because that's kind of how we keep track of like how much Electrum should be attributed to your account. Yeah, I agree that it would be cool to have some sort of like limited edition skin or something special like that. I don't want to spoil too much, but it is possible that we'll have some sort of exclusive attachments that will be coming in the future. I don't want to say any more about it yet, but that is definitely something that that could come down the line. Do skins change your particle effects? No, but we have an attachment system that's separate from skins. You can have both equipped at the same time. And those, the attachments, there's 3 different kinds, if you guys haven't seen them before. So we have wings. We have what we're just calling things on sticks, so which is like a fish on a stick, like a fishing pole. Or we have a beehive, like dangling from a stick and things like that. And then, I don't know if did I say wings? We have footsteps is the third one. And the footsteps are going to be things like fire footsteps or poison footsteps. And those are going to leave a path behind you. So actually, let me see. Go back to the Survive by Twitter. I believe we have a GIF there that I can show you guys for an example of what that looks like. And that's kind of how you can get those fun there we go. how you can get those fun particle effects added to your creature. Or sorry, your character. My apologies. The blanket Katherine skin for the Infiltrator. Yes, a stream classic, of course. You always got to go stealth mode. This is my stealth mode blanket. I don't think anyone would want to buy that, but I'd love to see some MS Paint fan art of that because, of course, it's a great idea. I would have insta bought the hot dog skin if it threw hot dogs as its projectile. Whew, that warms my heart. Yes, so that's one of my proud contributions is coming up with those hot dog skins. I wish that the hot dogs threw hot dogs. I wish that just the more hot dogs in this game, really, the better. Hot dog footsteps, hot dog wings. I don't think I'd be able to sell anyone else on the team on that one, though, so sorry, guys. That probably is not going to happen. The game isn't made in RPG Maker, although, of course, if you're interested in game dev, that is a great way to start out, but it is made in Unity, which is also free. So if you're interested in doing that, you can just grab Unity and kind of test things out for yourself. There's a lot of tutorials available and things like that. People have suggested pets before. That is very true, Stefan. So things like mounts, that would be super fun. We are thinking about pets. We want to make sure that pets aren't going to be like we don't want them to be super overpowered. Like, it would be cool if they affected gameplay, but we want to make sure that, like, just because someone has a pet doesn't mean that they're gonna like roll through everything. And so we're kind of thinking that sort of thing through, and one day. Yeah, traveling around the world quicker is always great. Of course, you can grab your speedy boots. You can go on the road. The road makes you move faster, and as you level up, your movement speed is going to increase as well. That sort of thing is going to be attached to like getting better boots. So that's one way. And then, of course, there's shrines. So as you're killing enemies and you're earning silver, you can use that silver to teleport between shrines, and that's like instant travel, of course. Let's see. Making more goofy skins. Yeah, that would be fun. Another idea that I can share with you that, once again, this is not a guarantee, but I think it would be funny or interesting if there were like little cute like onesies. If you guys are familiar with like kigurumis. I'm going to Google this off screen. Who knows what I'm going to come up with. But of like the bosses from the game, I think would be adorable. If you guys have, here we go. This is tame. So like this, if you guys have any ideas for skins or other fun things you'd like to see in the game, once again, you know what I'm going to say. Go to the forums. That would be great. Very cool. Felix, I see you. We're always updating the game every week. There are new updates that are going out, and even once we launch on Steam, this is an early access title. That means it is always going to be receiving updates, and so things will only kind of continue to grow and expand and get better. That includes adding additional dungeons, that includes revving on gameplay and making things even more fun and fast-paced and feel better every week. So that is a process, and of course we want the game to be the best that it can be. Oh, it's too bad it looks like we had the servers for a moment. Once again, this is likely sort of a cheating gone wrong type of scenario. Every time we let in, say, 1,000 or 5,000 players, it only takes one bad player to sort of compromise that. So the good news is every time that this happens, or every time that the servers aren't working the way that we would like them to, it gets us one step closer to making sure that they do, because we get really valuable information every time, and that is going to help us kind of safeguard against the next person who might come along. All right, looks like we have about 10 minutes left. So real quick, another update for you guys. We will be doing Heartland Horrors very soon. In fact, I believe that it will actually be out there, sure enough, next Wednesday. So in a week, we will be debuting the so far unnamed Hydra. But of course, we will also be fighting it. So if you weren't there for our first one with the Boreal Shaman, basically we're just going to pick a spot in the Heartlands where it won't really be able to hurt players who might not want to participate with it. And then we are going to spawn it in and fight it together. So it'll just be fun. Yes, of course, we are always working on improving that kind of stability. The game is in sort of pre-release status still right now. We are still in beta. This is the time that we do want to work these things out. But even once the game releases, of course, it will be free. These things will continue to improve every week. So I do apologize, of course, for any instability that's going on right now or lost progress or anything like that. But it is definitely a work in progress, and we are always trying to make sure that things are as stable as possible. A battle royale mode. I don't think you guys need to worry about that. I don't know if that'll happen. Survival mode or arena. We've definitely had a couple people kind of talk about how it would be fun to like have PvP in the game somehow. And I know that like arenas were one of the sort of proposed ideas for that, if not like a PvP server, but then just like an arena for it. So I'm not totally sure how that would work. We would want to make sure that that was fair. That would really be a complicated thing to tackle, but maybe one day, you never know, of course. Building or creating clans, yep, once again, that'll kind of go back into that party system that definitely is on the radar. Structures, building things. It would definitely be fun to have more uses for things like wood, crafting materials, the timber that you're picking up and things like that. So maybe, I don't know. The only thing is, remember, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get this off the wall. I have a map of the Heartlands, but remember that the Heartlands, everyone kind of moved inward to the center because of this like calamitous event that happened with the Chimera, just sort of taking things over and all the resin infiltrating the Heartlands and these fissures opening. And so because they were kind of driven to the brink of extinction and forced to move into that center zone, I don't know if it would maybe even fit with the game's lore to have like stable structures out there that are inhabitable, but it might be fun if like you guys could have something like that could be claimed by your party or your guild or whatever that might be. I'm sure it's not completely off the table. Once again, if there's enough community demand, it's always a possibility. PvP zone, yep, once again, that would be something sort of like an arena or something like that. Oh, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, a lot of PvP feedback. Of course, we do want to make sure that our PvP experience is as good as possible before we even kind of start worrying about diving into that type of thing. So that's something that if it was something we were going to tackle, I'm sure it wouldn't probably be until pretty far down the road. The legacy fixing schedule. So once again, we're putting out new updates every Wednesday, and so you can kind of go to these patch notes to see what's going on there. Any like new fixes to Ancestral Legacies, that will be displayed in content or gameplay changes, and you can check it out there. Ancestral Legacy card or Ancestral Legacy ideas are always great. If you have new concepts there that we could incorporate into our legacy system. Des, I'm sorry, I'm not sure I can address that one. So we, of course, are working with Digital Extremes to make this game, but I work for Human Head Studios, so we're developing it. So I can't really speak to anything that might have happened on other projects. Of course, just survive by. Yeah, definitely not sure about any sort of like Amazon tie-ins or anything else. Survive By is in its relative infancy, so it probably won't happen for a while, but I guess the future is infinite. You never know. Yes, just fixing the servers. That is at the top of our priority list. All right, so any other quick questions here? Oh, thank you for the compliment, Des. I think the game's good. I might be a little bit biased. What made me want to start working as a community manager? I love games. I've always loved games. I love playing games. I love learning about games. I knew I wanted to work in games, and so here I am. uh, let's see. Streamer codes. Yes, so if you are a Twitch streamer and you want to get connected with codes that you can give away on your stream, we will be setting up a Survive By partnership program. It doesn't exist yet, but it will be coming down the pipeline pretty soon. So if you haven't reached out to me yet, you can do so on on any of the Survive By channels. I guess my Twitter is also above my head here. That works as well. Just whatever you would like. And you can let me know if you're interested. Please send me a link to your Twitch channel too, so I can kind of like get a gauge for what your content is like. And then I'm happy to help you out if that means giving you assets or, like I said, hooking you up with keys for giveaways, things like that. We can work together. And then when that partner program launches, that's something that you'll be able to apply for, and that we'll get rolling. Zomax, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. You can claim a key right now from that 24/7 thing. Oh, let me pull it back up. It's right here. Whoop. From Video Games 24/7. Hop on here, you can grab a key. All right, and yes, pay to win is something that we will always avoid. Anything that you can buy and survive by, you can also earn just by playing and by earning, earning bloodstone through quests and things like that. So anything from getting new crafting vendors to grabbing a new skin or unlocking a new class, speeding up crafting times, just anything that you're interested in. All of that can be earned just by playing the game, so you don't ever have to worry about that. And of course, the PvE component also makes it a lot harder to be pay to win, because it's not a matter of someone hopping in and saying, I'm going to pay $20, I'm going to bypass everyone, and then I'm going to steamroll them. That can't happen, with the exception, of course, of people going in and hacking their way to it. Being powerful is almost always going to just be beneficial to those around you, because we're all kind of in this together. No, Des, if you have access to the alpha, you automatically are granted access to the beta. So you can just go ahead and hop into your Steam and update the game, and you'll be able to play it. Leaderboard, that would be pretty neat, especially maybe for like the well, where it's like a matter of just kind of seeing like how many wraiths have been killed by individual players. That's definitely pretty cool. And it looks like we have 3 minutes left on our stream. I will answer just 1 or 2 more questions. If you guys have anything that is pressing, of course, I'm happy to help out. How are we planning on balancing things? That's a pretty big question. I don't know if I can address all of that in 3 minutes, but we go through the forums, we play it ourselves, we have QA folks on it. We're always just kind of looking for things that look like they need nerfing or buffing or help, and we kind of assess priority based on that. And then those updates, if they are necessary in a hotfix, will go out. Otherwise, they go out on Wednesdays. The reducing or eliminating the potion dropping is sort of an experimental type of change. So that was something I believe in the patch notes that we'd indicated was something that we're trying out. And of course, if you guys hate it, The only way that we can know that is if you let us know, so tell us. And if it's a big problem, it can always be changed. We aren't usually banning people quite yet, but that is going to get like more and more intense sort of as the game goes on. So like if I find out that you were the one who was hacking all of these things and you won't cooperate with us and tell us how you did it, that might sort of be a conversation that we have to have. And it sounds like that's about everything. Of course, if you guys have any more questions, you can always contact us on the forums. I'm there all the time. You can inbox me or start a new forums thread. We also have a Facebook, we have a Twitter. Reach out to me however you would need to, or of course, if you see me in game, that's always a good time to reach out as well. So we'll have another developer stream next Wednesday, and I look forward to you guys joining me then, and really look forward to being able to play through some of next week's content with you. So again, thank you for your patience in all of this, and I really hope that we have our servers up and ready soon. Of course, like I said, this is sort of our pre-release state, but we want the servers to be up and ready for you guys as much as you want them up and ready. So we're doing all we can, and you can follow updates on that hotfix thread in the forums. All right. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.